Ladies and gentlemen, let's first welcome the toughest player in the game to beat, and he's battled his way into his second world final in typical Ebbo fashion, and no one can deny the brilliant match player the chance of his first world title. Ladies and gentlemen, into the Embassy World Final, will you welcome please the very talented Peter Ebdon. Ladies and gentlemen, his legendary opponent going for an 8th world crown, whose record-breaking career has seen him capture all the major titles over and over again, and Hendo has played out of his skin to reach yet another world final. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome the brilliant 7 times Embassy World Champion, Stephen Hendry.
We're all set, and in the commentary box are smiling Willie Thorne and John Virgo.
Yes, thank you, Ray. We're here, looking forward to this one. And what a first session we had, Willie. Peter Ebdon winning 4, and then Stephen coming straight back. I felt it was really important for Peter Ebdon to get a good start to this match.
Thank you. Frame 9, Peter Ebdon to break.
How disappointed do you think he'll be, Willie, after being 4-0 in front, that he couldn't win that first session?
Well, I think very, in fairness, John, because the first thing he would have been hoping to get a good start, i.e. win one of the first 2 frames. But when he went 4-0 in front, Stephen Hendry at that time hadn't made a break above 30. So he goes into the interval 4-0 in front, come out, and it was a complete reversal in form. Peter Ebdon had 1 break of 30 in the 4 frames, and Hendry just made 2 centuries and 2 40 odds and dominated the session. It couldn't be more evenly poised, but the upper hand, I would suggest, at this moment would have to be with Hendry.
An excellent safety shot from Peter Ebdon. Appreciated by this capacity crowd here tonight. And Stephen tapped the table as well. Got to play a good shot here. Get this cue ball back to that baulk cushion.
Well, a very similar pattern to the opening couple of frames this morning when my colleague JV was commentating, and that was the difference, John, wasn't it? Hendry played the first couple of bad safety shots, and that was the difference, I think, in the first 4 frames.
Yes, so I was sort of trying to work out the percentage of good safety shots that Stephen was playing, and in the first 4 frames it was only about 10% success rate. At this level you do leave a chance, but has he left anything here? Well, he's going for the plant, the 2 reds behind the pink. Judged it well, and he's on the pink.
May possibly be on the black, John. I'm not too sure whether the black... He had to make that plant, as you could clearly see from that shot. It wasn't on. So he played it in such a way. He's certainly on the pink. I don't know whether the black pots. We'll be able to show you in a second whether the black pots. The referee's just cleaning it, but we can still tell where the marker is. Yes, I think the black will pot, John. So he's got choice of pink or black. What a very good shot that was.
Eight. 9.
Even though the black is available into both corners, he'd love to remove that red to the left of the black. Just gives him more room to manoeuvre the cue ball.
Yes, he may decide to go into those 2 reds just above the black to hold. At least he'll break another couple of reds into play. Well, he's not played that well. He played a kiss at full ball. He's still okay, but it's a little more awkward than he wanted.
16. Touching ball.
Well, you say he's okay. Touching ball, that doesn't matter. He's looking for a pot. Well, maybe a little bit of tension in the arm. He hasn't played this well. Handy bump off the middle pocket. It's perfect on the blue. He went astray, but he's recovered the situation.
Okay.
Well, Peter was up on the shot immediately. He felt that he had a bad contact there. That's maybe because the cue
22.
ball's not travelled as far as he would have liked. We'll just have another look at this to see whether it does bounce. So it was certainly, the cue ball finished nowhere near where he wanted to. Yes, there was a bounce. It was a dead contact. So instead of being perfect on these reds, it's a little near the cushion, but should pot this without any problem.
23. $28. $29.
If he's not straight, he'll have every chance of moving that red away that is causing a problem. Yes, he can just stun this in and get rid of that red, and this has now become a frame winning opportunity. A very similar pattern to the first frame of the match. Stephen Hendry didn't score a point in the first 2.5 frames. He doesn't appear to
36.
have much of a chance of scoring a point here where the balls are.
$37.
He's got a nice angle on the black. He's just considering which is the best ball to play. They are nicely situated. He's just got to find a good position on the next red. And that's not it. Although he's developed a red for the left
44.
centre. He was looking for something in the right corner.
I'm a little surprised he's not put his cue hand a little nearer these, because he's got about 2.5 feet of cue coming out his hand there. But he played it
45.
okay, back in prime position. A lot of cue coming out of his hand there.
$50.
Without doubt, the greatest arena for snooker there's ever been, the Crucible Theatre Sheffield.
Yep.
All players get a buzz playing here more than any other venue.
51.
Well, certainly now, if he doesn't win the frame, he'd be very disappointed. Perfect on the pink, and all the reds now in the open. It's just really a case of holding your concentration. And the perfect start for Peter Ebdon. He played a good safety. Stephen
57.
couldn't find an answer to it, and he's sat in that seat ever since.
58.
One more red to make absolutely
65.
certain, I would think, of the frame. But now you can start thinking of his second century of the match. Stephen Hendry's already made 2, 126 and 116. Peter Ebdon made a break of 100 in frame 2. And this is a very good performance from Peter Ebdon. He must have had a little bit of a worrying interval between the afternoon session and this coming into the evening session.
66.
But once again, his temperament is holding him together, and looks now certain to go into a one-frame lead again.
The knowledgeable Crucible crowd
73.
realised that that was the ball that Stephen Hendry needed in snookers, but I don't think Stephen will be getting back to the table.
74.
Sizable break this could be, but it won't be enough to beat the 145 made by Matthew Stevens, although Stephen has had a couple of chances in this
80.
tournament to make a 147.
'81.
The possible there, of course, should he have taken all blacks, but because he's taking a pink with a lot of these last reds, the break will be going further down and down.
87.
We'll be playing for the pink here, so now there's only a possible 137.
88. '95.
Well, he could roll the black in for the certain 100, but you just know that Peter's going for the clearance. This makes it slightly more difficult, this break. Excellent.
101.
That's his second century of the match. His 179th of his career.
Yes, the perfect start. Obviously they're in the final and they've played in front of probably larger audiences than this.
107.
But if you can start off well in that first frame, it's like you don't have anything to prove anymore.
109.
This is a tremendous start from Peter. We'll fill in full with confidence for the remaining 7 frames to come this evening. Well played.
112. 116. 121.
lost the cue ball, so in and out of baulk. This is a similar shot to what Stuart Bingham had very early on in the tournament for a 147. He missed it. Watch the cue ball. That's what Bingham was trying to do. Couldn't manage it. Ebdon's played it to perfection.
Yes, a real crowd pleaser that was. 2 times today, Stephen Hendry made a century, but refused to pot the black.
Brilliant.
Not Peter. A cry went out. Brilliant. It certainly was. A safety mistake from Stephen Hendry gave Peter that chance, and he took it. He now leads again, 5 frames to 4.
It gets makes it too excitable for people.
As John Park mentioned, the similar pattern, and that's exactly what happened. Hendry didn't score a point in his first frame today. He hasn't scored a point in the first frame of the evening session. It's unbelievable the amount of centuries we've had this year. Already a record, and we've still not even a third of the way through the final yet. There's bound to be a couple more at least.
Well, it was a dangerous shot to take on, but there was no easy safety. And he played it in such a way that he would be, well, probably the only easy red he would lose, the one he's playing. But there's a thin cut on this red above the black, but this is a dangerous shot, this. But it's a tremendous pot. And a favourable kiss off the red puts him nicely on the blue. Stephen's got his attacking head on this evening. Obviously.
It's strange, John, isn't it, when we commentate on the legend Stephen Hendry, if he'd have missed that, we'd have been saying, well, that was a bit risky. But that's the way he's played his game, John, isn't it? All these years, he's been able to take on the risky shot, and percentage-wise, he gets more than he misses. But he doesn't very often miss them.
Stephen Hendry, 1.
Goodness me, that's unbelievable.
Well, it just shows you he hardly had a shot in the first frame, and I can only assume he missed that because he put a trace aside. You see the cue ball when it come off the baulk cushion, it shot to the right, and he just didn't allow for the side. Well, that could be a fillet for Peter Ebdon. Oh, he's played this well. Oh, tremendous shot. So Stephen, I'll have to sit there and suffer.
Eight. Nine.
I thought for 1 minute he was playing a screw back for the black, but in fairness, I think he's played that shot just to stun into the pack of reds, bring another 3 or 4 reds into play. OK, the blue's slightly more difficult. People can only look on and wonder whether he played for the black or the blue, but it's the blue that's going to be played next. Doesn't want a cannon on the red just above the blue. Well, I thought Peter Ebdon had got the blue-itis there. I thought he'd missed that blue. He's not perfect.
14.
Any harder, that wouldn't have gone in.
I was a little bit careless. And it's all about concentration. He was at the table in the last frame making that marvellous 134 break. 100% concentration every shot. It's not easy to keep it up.
He won't be risking holding full the black off this red. He'll be going round the angles and playing for blue or bought colour. Pink's a possibility, but because this is missable, you always tend to play these with an element of safety. It's not a guaranteed pot, this one. Well, he's played it slowly enough to be on pink or blue.
15.
So the confidence remains, not even thinking about missing anything.
Well, he's looking at the pink, but he doesn't look to have an ideal angle on this pink. But the blues is the wrong side. I suppose the one thing, if he plays the pink, at least the cue ball's staying in the business end. If he plays the blue, he's going to have to go in and out of balk and adjust the pace. Seems to me, just pot the pink cannon into the red just to the right of the pink and leave himself a red in the same pocket as he's playing this ball. No, just thought for a moment it was just going to catch the jaw. It did. Of course, playing at this speed, Willie, you're giving the ball every chance to
21.
drop, aren't you?
I absolutely agree. I mean, you know, it has been said that with the amount of centuries, are the pockets bigger than they have been for the rest of the season? But I think all these players have obviously got their A game with them. They've put an awful lot of work in to come into the Crucible, and every player that's played here this week, I don't think we've had
22.
anybody that would have been disappointed with the way he played. They've all scored very heavily when they're in close. It's been such a high standard this tournament.
Well, I'm not quite certain which red he played
29.
for there, but he's got a choice of two. A ripple of applause. He'll be happy with that. Can't believe this is the red he played for. Oh, what a
30.
horrendous kick that was. Well, you can see the balls jump in the air. Watch. Whoop. Like a drop kick.
Yes, and instead of getting the full ball kiss on the red, which meant he would have been absolutely dead straight on the pink, he's now on the half ball pink. I don't know whether he can hold it for a red. He may have to go in and out of balk. He may just be able to hold it. Trying to get the cue ball up near the blue somewhere to leave a red in the opposite corner. Well, I don't... We've seen 3 balls drop in tonight, but honestly, played a little bit harder, would not have gone in.
Stephen, there you see him in his chair.
36.
And there's a lot of talk, Willie, isn't there, about when Stephen in his last round played Ronnie O'Sullivan, but this is a completely different type of game. When Stephen makes a mistake, Peter's at the table, he takes an awful lot longer than Ronnie to win the frame, make his break, and you have to sit there and suffer a little bit longer, don't you?
Very, very good point, John. Both Ronnie and Stephen were playing on an average of 17 seconds per shot. Peter Ebdon is now on to 27 seconds per shot.
37.
And even if you look at Stephen Hendry's shot time, it's up to something like 20 seconds, whereas it was 17 throughout the whole match with Ronnie. So what that tells me, John, I don't know whether you think the same, that Ebdon's got Hendry playing at his pace rather than the other way around.
Yes, and I also
42.
remember a stat after the first 24 frames of that semi-final with Stephen and Ronnie. I think the average frame time was 12 minutes. So it's a different pace of match. And if you make a mistake, you have to sit there a little bit longer with Peter. Well, another one that used all the pocket, and he's a bit low on the black. This could be the key shot to this frame, if he can pot this black and get position. He just misjudged the cannon off the pink. It's thinner than he would like.
Absolutely, and he needs to make contact with the red and pink at the same time here to have the choice of reds. and he's played it perfectly. Yes, we can show you this shot again because he had to get the joint
50.
of both the pink and the red at the same time. And look at that, played absolutely to perfection.
$51.
Well, he's run out of position. So Stephen may be thinking there's a little hope that he'll be coming back to the table. All depends on what Peter can produce on this blue. Needs to pot it and get good position.
$56.
Not good position. Could be end of break.
There's a little bit of value in playing the pot red in the yellow pocket. He could hold the cue ball somewhere near the jaws of the middle pocket. He's having a look at a plant. They'll obviously not be in line for the pocket. He's just wondering whether he can make them in, you know, what we call a reverse plant. Yes, no plant there. He's now looking at the possible cut back into the middle. Now that looks far too difficult. If he could put the white somewhere near the jaws, John, of the middle pocket, he'd be on the blue. The only red he could leave easily would be the one he's going for. He could possibly cover it by the yellow.
Yeah, I think the big problem there will be it's not good cueing. If he was to play into the far left corner, it'd be very awkward cueing. Well, is he playing the cut? I'd be surprised if he is. Well, he did. Now, will he regret that?
Peter Ebdon, 56.
He's left this red. He's not left it easy. Wrong choice of shot for me. I'd rather been playing safe and maybe putting a red on a cushion. Can Stephen knock this one in?
One.
Well, that was a tremendous pot. Just lost the cue ball slightly. Tricky black to follow.
Eight.
Now, this is key. Doesn't want the cue ball to run through more than about 1.5 inches. Well, he's actually played for the pink. I was going to say he could have played for the black to kiss them. If he's dead straight on the pink, that's no good. We'll show you the angle now. Can he move the reds into play? No, so he's going to play to drop behind the red on the cushion into the opposite middle. Now essential to get an angle on the next ball.
15.
Yes, it depends really how straight he is on this red. He's played for it in the right centre and he's on it to the right centre. He's just looking to see if he can leave an angle on the pink, but as we saw the last time he played for the pink, you've got to be inch perfect, otherwise you can't open the reds, and that's what he needs. Well, he's not happy with the contact.
16.
The red goes in, but he's not got the angle on the pink.
It was the kick again, John, wasn't it? Took all the pace out of the cue ball. He was absolutely disgusted with the con. There's the little bounce. That cue ball would have gone another 2 or 3 inches forward. Now the blue, there's an angle to stun it in and come and kiss into the 3 reds. Well, this is tough. Is he playing the screw in the middle or the stun in the top? Well, there's your answer. Has he got the cannon? Unlucky. Good try.
Well, he may have missed an easy blue that put him behind in this frame.
21.
What a confident shot that was. Just put a little bit too much side on the cue ball. So that mistake from Peter Ebdon is not going to cost him. It's only a safety shot now for Stephen. 34 points behind. Still a possible 51 left on the table. He looked a certainty a few shots ago. Maybe not now.
Stephen Hendry, 21.
Yes, he was too near the cushion to be able to generate any bottom spin to avoid the cannon on either the blue or brown going into baulk, and he just had to play a negative shot. But it could be costly. He could find himself in trouble after this next shot. Very clever shot. Just a fraction too hard. There may be a shot to nothing on here for Stephen Hendry. He'll be taking this clip on. Just got to avoid the jaws of the middle pocket, and this is a chance to get right back into baulk.
Well, an absolutely tremendous pot. Let's have a look at Stephen's face. What a pot this was. But I don't think he's got a good kiss on the colour. He may have to roll up behind the green. That's what he's playing. Have to hope he can get the next chance. It's going to be tough though for Peter Ebdon to get this safe. The two reds are in the middle of the table, they're in the open. I think it's a hit and hope. Okay, I suppose you might give one try, just coming off the side cushion. If he's got an angle to do that. That's one way, Willie, isn't it? If you just played it dead weight and catch that first red full, then you wouldn't leave anything.
I agree with what you said, John. I'd definitely give it the first try this way, because playing this way, he can only push two reds towards the pot. If he hits these reds, he's bound to leave a pot. Mind you, John, I think he's playing three cushions to come into them from behind.
I don't think it's on. Well, it's going to cost him now.
And a miss. Stephen Hendry, 4.
Miss was just a waste of John Williams's breath, because Stephen Hendry now, what a gift of a chance. Made a mistake there, Peter Ebdon, and it's a big one, I think.
Well, it's unbelievable, isn't it, to think that somebody of Peter's class can misjudge a shot by that so far to be able to catch the jaws. And he'd be disappointed, Ebdon, because of course he'd won the first frame easily. He'd made a break of 56 in this frame, which you would have thought he'd have been strong favourite to win the match. He's now strong second favourite in this frame. I say win the match, of course, win the frame, I meant to say.
8.
Hendry now looks a certainty.
$13.
16 points behind, he'll need the 6 remaining colours.
15.
And probably the first frame in this match that has gone against the grain, so to speak,
18.
because whoever's got in early has always looked as though they were going to win the frame, whereas this one, after Stephen's mistake when he missed the blue, Peter Ebdon looked
22.
odds on. But not now. Blue, pink and black required.
27.
And the pattern has changed now in this match. 4 frames Ebdon, 4 frames Hendry. Now they've exchanged what appears to be the first 2 frames this
33.
evening. Well, Ebdon started with a 56, he was in control, lost position, Hendry came back with a clinical 40 clearance to take it on the black, they're all square, 5 frames all.
It was the most difficult shot he could play, but the one you could only guarantee to get safe off, and he just misjudged it, basically.
Right, back at the table. There's Peter, and back to Willie and John.
Well, we can debate as much as we like, but I agree with what John and Steve said. And you can't give this man chances like that, as Peter did.
One.
Terrific opening red.
And amazingly enough, John, that is the first time in the match that Stephen Hendry's been in front, albeit by only 1 point.
Stephen
Well,
Hendry,
it's
1.
amazing, isn't it? He knocks a red like that in. Okay, wasn't that easy using the rest, but you wouldn't expect him to miss it. Of course, our
1.
expectance level of Stephen Hendry when he gets in amongst the balls, you just expect him to make century after century. His record proves us right most of the time.
Yes, and lots of times, John, in commentary I've said if you could guarantee making a 40 break every time you got to the
8.
table, you would win the World Championship. I don't think that's the case anymore. We've just seen an example in the last frame where Ebdon makes 56, loses the frame, and we've seen it so many times in this tournament. I think virtue
9.
now, to guarantee winning the World Championship, you need to make a 60 break every frame.
Well, no matter what you have to make, I think what you have to do is, when you get a chance, take it. Certainly don't miss when you're in the balls. And as long as you don't miss an easy shot when you're in the balls, you always have
16.
the option to play safe. Where Peter Ebdon made the mistake in the last frame, he didn't miss when he was in the balls, but instead of playing safe when he'd run out of position, he decided to play a risky pot. And as Steve Davis said, surrendered the game, or control of that frame, to his opponent. But as they all have an attacking frame of mind, it won't bother him, you see, because he'll think, well, if the red had gone in, I'd have won the frame. And it's just an attitude. That's what I think the biggest difference is between the players of today and the players of our era.
24.
Just an attitude of mind.
Absolutely. And Peter is looking at this pack of reds and just looking what angle would be best to go into them. In fairness, if the angle would be low, would be the better choice to go into them rather than high. He's played for the high
25.
choice. Now, if he hits one of these reds full ball, he'll be on nothing. Should have gone into these low and have got a lot more pace through the pack. Full ball contact, he'll stick to them. Absolutely no value whatsoever in playing it that way.
Well, I'd love to see that again.
32.
Look at the top spin he put on this cue ball. It's come off the cushion and turned into backspin. Watch the way the cue ball comes off. Well, he put some power into that. He's not anything easy, but this red does go to the right centre. He's potting well. You may have criticised in the last frame for going for one too many, but well, he's certainly really finding the heart of the pocket. And obviously full of confidence.
Yeah. This final's taking exactly the same
38.
pattern as both semi-finals. It was punch for punch. OK, there was a session here in the final where it was 4 frames, then 4 frames to the opponent. But in both semi-finals, it was break after break, counter-attack after counter-attack. And now this is turning out to be what we thought it would be. A very, very high-quality final.
39.
This time the angle on the pink needed to go into them because the blue's no good to go into them. I don't know whether there's any more loose reds. That's why he needs this perfect.
46.
He's got the perfect angle on the pink. Doesn't have to play this at pace because the one directly below the pink will be pushing that towards the corner.
Yes, he had a similar shot like this afternoon, but I think you just need to get the cue ball pushing through a little bit more than he did this afternoon. Well, he's played it gently, and that's the problem, you see. You know you're going to be pushing reds towards pockets, but I just think you need to play it a little bit more
52.
pace just to release the cue ball. He played almost an identical shot today. You'd have thought he'd have learnt his lesson.
Yes, good point, and I don't think he can squeeze through those 2 reds, so this is a chance that's gone astray. He made a 56 in the last frame, lost it. He's made a 52 in this frame. Will it be enough this time?
Peter Ebdon, 52.
Well, at least this time he's finished with a safety and not a risky pot. So he's still in control of this frame as we all look on. Well, what a pot. Didn't fancy the safety. I know KE, you know, I know he's pulling his face now, but if it hadn't have gone in, he'd have been pleased the cue ball would go there. But just to have that
Round ball.
an eye to hit the ball that distance and pot it down a cushion like that. And we say he goes for too many pots. If you can pot like that, why not?
Stephen Hendry, 1.
Well, he'd be going back a little bit annoyed because he shouldn't have got the double kiss on the brown. But having said that, looks like Peter can't get through to the side of this red near the right-hand cushion he needs to be on. He'd like to have screwed back behind the brown. Is he playing the cross double?
Well, why is he moving this red anyway? He's 50 points in front. Why on earth he wants to bring that red into play, I do not know. I cannot believe he's brought that red into play.
Well, absolutely. It was a red that was safe. And there's a red down here. If he wanted to try a pot, he could have gone for. But as you say, Willie, why bring a red away from a cushion? He's probably seen the error of his ways now.
1.
With that wry smile. So another frame. Did he look favourite to win? Could it be slipping away?
Exactly the same thing happened. Exactly the same shot, really, but in fairness, Stephen Hendry's shot was a lot more difficult because he was playing a stun run-through to create the angle to go into the pack. He had to stun it, you see. That's why the cue ball went into the pack quite dead, because it was a stun shot. There was no spin on the ball. If only I could lip read.
Stephen Hendry, 7.
Well, after getting over the initial pain of not being on the red, he concentrated on the safety, and it's a good one. Well, he's been lucky here, hasn't he? And I can't really understand. It's never looked like a shot for nothing to me. And once he kissed the black, he could have set up the frame for his opponent. He's got away with it.
Honestly, John, looking at it from this angle we can show you in a second, is that even if he pots it, he'll kiss the black. It was a poor choice of shot.
Yes, and that's where the run of the balls plays its part. Stephen was left with nothing but a safety. So that mistake from Peter, 2 mistakes he's made. It's not really done him a lot of damage. He's still 43 points in front. He's going for this thin cut on this red. And he'll win the frame now, probably, if he can get on the black. Flick off the green. Ooh, a flick on the green. Well, Peter's looked around in disgust, but I think, Peter, if you're being fair, don't blame the balls, because if you think of your last shot, you were lucky that you were coming back to the table. So take it on the chin. He's got a snooker to come.
Peter Ebdon, 1.
Well, that wasn't the red he played to hit, and he's been fortunate. Maybe he deserved a bit of run there. They say it evens out in the end.
44 in front, John. Would you go for this red dead weight along the cushion to get on the pink? Ebdon is.
Well, I don't know about dead weight. He might be trying to get the cue ball back in the balk end and make the pot more difficult. Well, he did go dead
1.
weight. That's confidence for you, isn't it?
I think in fairness, John, they both know how big these top pockets are, because there's hardly been a ball missed when they've played them dead weight. They've dropped in. And now obviously going to be very disappointed if he doesn't win the frame at this visit. Only one more red needed.
7.
Well, Hendry just cannot get his nose in front and go a frame clear. He's always been playing catch-up in this match, and he's got to do it again.
$14. 15. Green ball. Peter Ebdon, 15. On the frame.
Stephen Hendry concedes. Peter Ebdon wins that one with a few scares. But he leads once again at 6 frames to 5.
If you're prepared to let it be a wall. It's a very hard session, this one. There's no doubt about it. And someone would love to go into the sleep tonight with a lead.
I love watching their faces too. Look at the focus on that man as he tries to get it level at 6-all. Back to the commentary box.
Well, I was interested to hear that discussion between the lads there, that when Steve Davis was going on about dedication and psychology and things, and one of the things that, I hate to bore people who've heard me say this before, but Peter Ebdon said to me once, he said, well, look, I can agree that somebody can be better than me naturally, but there's no reason in the world they can have a better temperament than me. And if I can have the strongest temperament, I've always got a chance to win a match, and that's what he's proved this week. Doesn't have the natural ability of some of the top players, but he's as hard as nails, and his temperament is superb.
Well, I think this red may go into left centre. No, missed it by a long way. It's got to be said, I know he's had flashes of brilliance this afternoon, but it's not the Stephen Hendry that beat Ronnie O'Sullivan just yet, Willie, is it?
I'm just trying to work out why that is. Whether he got himself so pumped up for O'Sullivan and he knew he had to play at his best. Whether he went into this final thinking, well, I'm playing a player that I've got a very, very good record again. Perhaps I don't need to play at my best. A lot of times players have players they play well against. Hendry's got Ebdon, who he usually always plays well against. And the fact that Ebdon's played so well could have knocked Hendry out of his stride, without doubt.
Eight. Nine.
Oh, just when he didn't want to be straight on the blue, he's got exactly straight. Could have had choice of reds to play for. If it had been low on the blue, he could have gone for the one in baulk. If it had been high on it, the one this end. Dead straight, he's only got one shot. Just run through and play the long red. That's why he's looking at the yellow. Now, I've seen these miss before, but you'd expect him to pot it.
Eleven. Twelve. Seventeen. $18.
Perfect angle on the black here. Pot the black, cannon the one just above the black for the other red into the same pocket. Played to perfection. It was an elementary shot, but you've still got to keep your nerve and have your touch. And Peter Ebdon certainly got all of those things going for him this evening.
25.
It could have turned out absolutely perfect, because he could go into that group of 6 off this next shot. He's bound to be on the red that he's near. Now, unfortunately, he's got a little bit straight on this. Hendry would have certainly left an angle to go into them, because that pack are not good. He's playing for the loose one. He may regret that in a couple of shots' time.
33.
Stephen Hendry's spent a lot of time having that cloth on his mouth in the last 2 matches. I've never seen him do that before in his career. babies there, a thing called a comforter, I believe, when you're a child,
34.
John. I wonder if a few memories are coming back. Now, if he plays in the pack this time, he'll be very fortunate to get on one, because unless he catches them half ball, he has no chance.
Well, he certainly generates some power, and he's on one. He's got a red into the left
41.
centre. Stephen looks on. There's nothing he can do about it. If Peter Ebdon can roll this red in, he's not missed many, get position on a colour. He's opened the reds now for a frame-winning break. This is the last frame before the mid-session interval. Ooh, just wide.
Peter Ebdon,
That was a
41.
big shot. You feel as if he potted that, he was certain to win the frame. Chance of a counter-attack. Just the pace kept that out.
Yeah, that's my point from when you're going into the pack. He's had to generate so much topspin because the pack was so flat at the back, and you know, it's just, there's no value. You can only ever get on one in the middle pocket. You can never get on one in the corner pocket.
Yeah, but having got on one with him, I was very surprised he didn't pot it. What can Stephen do with this chance?
One.
Good shot. He had to judge the cannon off the yellow. He's on the brown.
Oh, now he's taking the brown with that red, and even if he took all blacks, he's still going to need the yellow.
5.
If he does take all blacks, he'll only be at a tie, I think, if my math's right. So that yellow is going to be a key ball in this frame.
Thirteen. $14.
Yeah, just working it out, Willie. You were nearly right. But if he took all blacks with his remaining reds, which I've got to say is highly unlikely, but if he did, he wouldn't need the yellow. He'd be
21.
28 points in front, coming on the colours. He's probably not aware of that at the moment.
22.
But eventually, when he brings the scores to level, then he'll look at the scoreboard and work out the percentages, what the best colour to go for. There's the stance of the 7 times world champion, looking for an 8th.
29.
Well, this shot tells us he hasn't looked at the scoreboard, because now he
30.
does need the yellow. So I knew I was right.
Absolutely, because now if he pots the pink, he'll only be 27 points in front if he should get blacks off the remaining 4 reds. Mystic Willie.
And how important is that going to be? Could be 6 each or 7-5, all depends on the yellow.
$36. $37.
People often talk about how many shots you play in advance. Obviously, in that situation, nobody would have looked at the scoreboard to have worked that out. It's only because we've got the little bit of time in between shots to work things out like that.
43.
And if he goes back to his dressing room realising he could have been 28 in front of the yellow, trust me, he'd have been playing for the blacks. But you don't look at the scoreboard at that situation. Your first thing in mind is to get back into the frame.
Well, it was a terrific pot using the rest. He's not ideal on the black, though. And as he pots the black, he'll be running into those two reds. Well, he's digging deep. Can he hold this? Oh, well, I tell you what, he hit it wide, but that was a marvellous shot to hold for the reds.
51.
He used all the pocket. It's turned out to be a good shot now.
$52. $59.
So Peter Ebdon, the only chance he's got in this frame for me is the yellow.
$60.
Yes, along the cushion, the balls have been going in quite nicely, played slow, so if he can get dead straight on this yellow, he'll play the pot. Otherwise, of course, he'll just stun the yellow up towards the black, leave the white where the yellow is, and snooker him. Now, if he's dead straight, he'll play the pot. He'll play the pot.
66.
This is virtually frame ball. 6-all or 7-5 could be on this shot.
$68.
Brilliant break.
Stephen Hendry, 68.
Almost done enough to win the frame. You would think, obviously, without snookers, he will win the frame unless Ebdon goes in off. So this is really a key moment now for Stephen Hendry.
Yes, if the green goes in, frame over. One snooker, wouldn't be the first time that a frame's been won. Wow. Safe in a fashion.
So when you consider, John, that Matthew Stevens lost by the odd frame against Peter Ebdon, and I think one frame Matthew was 73 points to nil in front with only, I think, 51 on or something like that, and ended up losing the frame, and he only lost the match by one frame.
Yeah, it was a two snookers required situation, even though it was 73 once Peter had potted the reds and blacks. But yeah, two snookers. So one snooker isn't beyond Peter Ebdon, and once again that frame ball just hit the bump in the middle pocket. Can Peter Ebdon make a better job of a snooker here? Well, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. He's got the snooker. Not difficult to hit, but Stephen's got to be careful here that he doesn't leave Peter an easy snookering opportunity. Well, would you believe it?
Peter Ebdon,
Oh,
4.
I've seen it. Well, that's just unbelievable. There doesn't look to be any room round the back of the green.
But it's the point you made, John, the reason it had to happen, isn't it? Because Hendry knew that if he played it slow, where he'd been guaranteed to hit the green, he'd have been leaving the green near the brown, and you rightly predicted that he had to get some pace between the balls to not leave that easy opportunity.
Well, if Peter Ebdon knocks this brown and gets on the green, he'll be... Oh, sorry, I'm thinking it's a free ball, and of course there's no miss can be called. I'm getting too excited. He's got a snooker this time. But of course, he doesn't need a snooker now. He's only 23 points behind. There's 25 on the table. Stephen Hendry has got to get this safe. It's a good hit. As he left it. This is the type of shot that Peter Ebdon will take on. With pace, got to be so accurate. Kiss on the blue. It's perfect. What a turnaround this could be.
Well, I was looking at Stephen Hendry's face when the green disappeared, and he was really disappointed. He was muttering to himself, I can't believe it, when he got the shot on the green to the position on the brown. But this blue's not a certainty.
No, a little bit straighter would have been ideal. I think Stephen would probably be complaining about the fluke snooker that Peter got. If he pots this blue and gets on the pink, his favourite. In goes the blue. How's he on the pink? He's too hard. He's much too hard. A rumbling in the crowd. Pink and black required. Good shot now required off this pink.
Yes, he may be playing it in the middle, because he's guaranteed on the black if he plays it in the middle. He has played it in the middle. And that's brilliant. Stephen Hendry will be horrified at what's happened in this frame. We may have to start calling it Houdini. He's apologised to Stephen Hendry with a hand up there, knowing that it was a fluke snooker. But every credit to Ebdon. He cleared to the black to pinch it. He leads 7-5.
They come out to play. Shift change in the commentary box. It's Clive Everton and Dennis Taylor.
Stephen Hendry is going to do very well to end this opening day's play level at 8-all. He's never been in front, and he's now 2 frames behind. Peter Ebdon has been putting the pressure on all day. 4-0 up.
13th frame, Peter Ebdon to break.
But caught at 4-all, and it could be crucial that he snatched the last frame for the mid-session interval after needing a snooker. Hendry under immediate pressure from the Ebdon break-off shot. Winning a frame after needing a snooker has a knock-on psychological effect apart from the frame score. Hendry knows that it was a frame he should have won. It seemed miraculous that the cue ball crept between the cushion and the green on the fateful snooker, but he's under pressure now, make no mistake.
But he's a player who has coped with all sorts of pressure throughout his professional career. And I'm sure he'll bounce right back again here. But it's a fascinating final.
Ebdon has shown no sign of being mentally drained from his late-night semi-final win over Matthew Stevens. think it took less out of him than we believed it might. On the other hand, Stephen Hendry's semi-final win over Ronnie O'Sullivan might have taken more out of him than we thought. There's not so very much between the players, but Ebdon's safety has been a little better. His potting just a little more reliable. And in the last frame before the intermission, he did the unexpected. He went to 7-5 by winning the frame after needing a snooker, and although Hendry flukes the initial red,
Stephen Hendry 1.
he isn't able to get a break going. Perhaps he will from the snooker he laid.
I don't think he can get to that angle. He's too close to the brown. He would like to play this one that's near the corner pocket, but the angle's not there. He'll do very well to get this safe. That's the pink.
Foul and miss.
And he's left a red
Stephen
for
Hendry,
the
6.
left corner, I feel. But far from a good opportunity here, just looking at the way the balls are. He could pot this red and get on the black, but there's no point in that because of the red on
6.
the black spot, so he'll probably play for the pink here.
7.
I'm not quite sure if the pink will go back onto its own spot. If not, it will have to go up onto the brown spot. Oh, now that's a sign that
Stephen Hendry 7.
Stephen is just starting to feel the nerves a little bit. That wasn't good cueing. He's so reliable with that type of shot.
One.
May have crept too far.
Can't quite tell from that picture, but it looks as if you can see enough of the pink. It's a bit tight, but can just manage it.
7.
Pink spot is not available, so the black's the highest. So that helps Peter Ebdon.
8. Okay. 14.
The reason he's putting the extension on his cue is because he's having to just reach over the black, and that'll keep his waistcoat away from that black.
$50.
Still perhaps a bit straight on the pink to have much of a variety of positional options.
How's the pace?
21.
Can he get through to that red to the left? Just about. It looks pretty tight, doesn't it, from there? He might just catch the other red first.
22.
That's a bit unlucky. He took the chance to go into the reds there.
28.
And he thought he would finish on the one that the white's just passing, but how the white managed to sneak its way into the middle of the reds there was a bit unfortunate. Just looking at the situation there of the white and reds, not easy to play a good safety shot. Got to be a bit careful here because he's got to find a path for that cue ball if he's going to try and get back to the balk area. He's done well. I mean, he's hit the black
Peter
there.
Ebdon, 28.
Could quite easily have left the white up this end of the table.
Fortunately for him, he only hit it thin.
The last couple of shots, Stephen hasn't cued them very smoothly. Right across that one. He's possibly still thinking about the last frame where his opponent needed a snooker. He knows it should be 6 each.
Yes, when your opponent needs a snooker, in your mind, you've won the frame. And then when you find you haven't, It's quite a psychological setback. Didn't leave the red he attempted though on that occasion.
It's a tricky little red into the middle pocket. It's an even trickier one into the corner. That's a dead straight pot. He's missed a couple like this. Could do with knocking this in just to regain that confidence. And a long way off. So just lost his way temporarily. I think he needs an easier pot just to get going again.
Hendry struggling, and Ebdon will sense that this is the time to make a major breakthrough. Not this shot, but if he can win this frame to get 3 clear, there's a possibility he could get clean away.
Well, very surprised. He had a straightforward shot to get back behind the brown. Decided on a double. He could quite easily have stunned back behind yellow, green and brown there. Now can Stephen knock this one in? He's lost it at the moment. And with each shot that he misses, it's a dent in his confidence. He has played so well throughout this Embassy Championship.
One.
Very confident multi-cushion positional shot for pink.
Seven. Eight.
Well, just looking at the position of the reds here, he'd have to play a careless shot. This is a very good opportunity for Peter Ebdon.
30.
He's got a bit of thinking to do about, Stephen.
Ultimately, snooker is a game of technique, and keeping it under all manner of strains and stresses. Ebdon is cueing beautifully. He's hardly missed a potable ball all day.
21. $27.
Well, this is just straightforward. Easy pink, easy red. He's going to open up a 3-frame advantage. It's quite amazing how this final has panned out.
34.
Peter winning the first 4, dominating the session.
35.
Dominating the next 4 frames, and now Peter's going to win 3 in a row.
$41. 42. 48. 49.
Doesn't really matter what happens now in this frame. Ebdon has won it and emphasised how well and how confidently he's playing.
Peter Ebdon, 49, on the frame.
Played the double to get on the yellow with the frame already won. And by winning it, Ebdon leads by 8 frames to 5 after a frame in which the key factor really was the way that Stephen Hendry lost his cueing. He had a couple of long straight reds, for instance, which went badly awry.
He's usually so reliable with that type of shot, but he missed that by a long way, and then there was worse to come. He missed that by a long way, and even that one, he just lost his way in that frame, and he presented really Peter Ebdon with the chances, although Peter did very well. It was Stephen that presented Peter with those chances, and he's really deep in thought there, and he's going to have to do it all over again. He was 4-0 behind. He's going to have to start again.
Ebdon fiercely determined, and for all Hendry's determination, it might not avail him much unless he can get his trueness of cueing back.
Well, that will help, because that's a very good break-off shot from Stephen Hendry. And the beauty about playing the best of 35 frames, you can have a bad session and still recover from it. And just at the moment, Stephen Hendry's having a bit of a rough time out there.
Excellent return safety. All seats sold, although for some mystifying reason a few ticket holders have not turned up.
Terrific return, safety shot there, and he's going to need a few of those just to knock Peter Ebdon out of his stride and just to try and create an opening for himself. Peter's playing a similar type shot, needs the correct contact to avoid that red on the right side of the table. Bit too thick, that was the reason he contacted that, but he's left a longish pot, and Stephen really needs to knock one of these in just to get his confidence back. Can he do it this time? He'll keep taking them on.
One.
That's a lot better from the 7 times champion.
Seven. Eight.
Well, that shot tells us that the pink's not available into the right corner pocket. So he's got a little bit of sorting out to do here. Won't pass that red there. The reds thought it might have went up into the corner pocket, but he really did hit that very hard. And Stephen Hendry doesn't usually do that. He usually times the shot a lot better.
One.
Ebdon knows that Hendry is struggling at the moment. This is the moment for him to push on towards a commanding overnight lead.
When you lose a bit of confidence at this game, it's so tough. And when everything's going well for you, it can be so easy.
Five. Six.
Peter's still got the same problem that Stephen Hendry had. The pink, as we know, is not available. Black tied up at the moment.
11. $12.
Not a good shot. Wrong side of the blue. He's got lots of topspin, but he's still having to take on a longish pot.
17.
with no guarantee of position either.
That was a little gem of a shot. Played with lots of drag to bring that black into play there. I mean, that is so delicate.
I didn't appreciate that that one was on. Now that he's got it, he could score pretty heavily at this visit, perhaps decisively.
Is the pink spot available? If not, it's going to tie the pink and black up. No room there. So it has to go as...
$25.
Yes, as near as possible to its own spot, in a direct line with the midpoint of the top cushion without actually touching the nearest ball.
$26. $31.
This is quite an effort here because it's so difficult with the position. A little bit of a disturbance. I think it's okay. It's just a young fella that I can see from the commentary box. He's just got a little bit excited, so is
all calm again. Ebdon just managed to avoid carrying on the second red, which could have halted the break in its tracks.
$37. $38. $43.
Despite the unavailability of pink or black, Ebdon still making steady progress.
44.
well, it just depends whether those two reds, or at least one of them, is available.
Okay.
So maybe they're not. Maybe he can't get on to the right
49.
one of the two together, so it's once again pot this red, screw back for the blue. He's still looking at the angle of those two reds. That's thinking a couple of shots ahead, but they look very tight. He may have to try and leave an angle this time on the blue to then cannon into the two reds. But to be able to give himself a chance, he's got to get up there somewhere near the circle to leave an angle on the blue. And it's quite a tough shot with the rest. Just a little bit close to the pocket, so he might have to try and come off the cushion and move the reds, because he's still not certain whether he can pot the right one.
If he attempts to move the two reds and fails, a red will be available to the left middle.
Now this is very tight because Peter's looked at it
55.
3 or 4 times. He might hit them both at the same time here, just to make the angle. This is tight. He did very well with that. Just up behind the yellow.
Yellow ball.
And as well as he's potting,
Peter Ebdon, 56.
Ebdon didn't take long to reject brown to middle with a possible run to the frame ball red.
Could do with hitting one. How does he hit it and get it safe?
Foul and a miss. Peter Ebdon,
The
4.
miss is called. And the problem, if he misses this time, just look at the scoreboard. 47 the difference.
Okay.
If he misses, he'd be 51 behind, with only a possible 51 on the table.
Foul and a miss. Peter Ebdon, 4.
Now, this is one of those situations. You don't call a miss if your opponent needs a snooker, but he can only tie. So if Peter has it put back and Stephen misses it, he needs a snooker.
.51 in front,
Okay.
51 on the table, and Hendry will again be playing from behind the yellow.
This is where the miss rule is quite a tough rule in this particular instance, because if he misses it now, he needs a snooker. He's trying his hardest to hit it.
Foul. Peter Ebdon, 4.
He hasn't. No miss called because it's snooker needed. Ebdon's potting pretty well everything he attempts.
Brown
ground ball.
Peter Ebdon 1. Frame
Hendry
Peter Ebdon.
concedes. Ebdon leads by 9 frames to 5. He's certain to be in front overnight.
And he definitely looks in control at the moment.
He fears no one and nothing, and here he is at the table. Ebdon leads 9-5.
Hendry is now in the damage limitation business. If he could win the 2 remaining frames, he'd only be 9-7 behind overnight, and that would be recoverable tomorrow.
One.
Well, a nice little 3-ball plant. Could have done with the cue ball stopping a little bit short of the ball colours. He's looking at this brown. He's very close to it. It's a tricky little cut back. He's not hard enough.
5.
He can't get to the potting angle of the red to the left of the black. But Stephen Hendry, when his back is against the wall, he usually goes all out attack. Great shot.
6. Eleven. 12.
You normally see Stephen going into the pink and reds, but the pink's too far away from the reds. He'll just concentrate on the loose reds for the time being.
17. 18.
He can screw back for that red that he just nudged there. He's looking to see if the one next to the black would go. That would be a bonus, but that looks pretty tight. Well, maybe it does pot. He'll have to go up for the blue, but at least he's clearing the black spot area.
24.
Can just see enough of it.
$30. 31.
Now the pink is closer to the reds. This is a Stephen Hendry special. He wants to hit that pink full ball. How's his luck? It's not bad, but he'll have to go into them again.
36.
Would you believe it? That is just
Stephen Hendry,
concentration
36.
there. He was just worrying about the white. Bad miss. he's just changed his mind. He was going to take this red into the right corner. Well, maybe he's still going to try that. Watch the white, though.
One.
Quite an awkward potting angle, that. But nothing much is phasing Ebdon at the moment.
Green ball. Four.
You don't often see an attempted pack opener from the green at that sort of angle.
Foul.
Wow, that's amazing.
Peter Ebdon 4, Stephen Hendry
To
6.
pot the red and see the pink disappear into the corner was quite incredible. But I'm just wondering, when he played the green, I'm not so sure whether Peter played to get into the reds. But that's all in the past now. He was unfortunate to knock the pink in there.
One.
Hendry came to the table, 38 in front. He must clinch the frame at this visit.
Six. Seven. Thirty.
Just take your pick time. It's nice when you've got
40.
2 easy ones like that. It was so important for Stephen Hendry to come back in this frame, because we could see that he just lost his timing with his cue
20.
action, but winning this frame could soon
21.
restore that, because he has looked devastating throughout this World Championship.
28.
Until these last few frames,
Stephen Hendry 28 on the frame.
Ebdon concedes, but still leads by 9 frames to 6. A more satisfying frame for Hendry in that he won it, but even so, he missed one very simple red to a middle pocket, and in the end he was indebted to Ebdon unluckily knocking the pink in. Otherwise he might have lost that frame as well.
Yes, that red that you mentioned, Clive, was well, it was such a straightforward pot. He was just worrying about the cue ball, and it shows you when you're under this sort of pressure, it's so easy to miss the simplest of shots if you don't give them your full concentration.
Ebdon's concentration is ironclad, it seems to me.
The final frame of this session, Stephen Hendry to break.
If Hendry rather can just win this frame. He'll be only 2 frames behind overnight, which, considering the way the two of them have played, would be a good result for Hendry and possibly an injustice to Ebdon.
He's been pretty fortunate here. Just look at the reds. They've knocked the black safe.
One.
So he knocked the black safe, the pink safe. That was a good opening red for Stephen, but he's going to have to concentrate on the blue and bulk colours for the time being.
Six. Seven. Twelve. 30.
Not quite. It's going to be difficult now. He looks to be almost straight on this blue. It's a sort of a red into the corner pocket,
80.
playing it as a shot to nothing. That's where he try and pot the red, finish on a bulk colour, and it should be safe if he doesn't knock the red in. Straight in the middle of the pocket.
90. $22.
Just depends on the angle on the red here. Yes, he should be able to get back for the blue from there.
23.
And he might just try and nudge into the pink and red there, just to bring the pink into play and hopefully a few reds. But he's got the reds that he can play for into the right corner pocket, so that hasn't worked.
28.
Didn't quite judge the cannon as he intended. Wanted a fuller contact. Oh, it doesn't look as if there's pots. This is tight. That looked very
Stephen
tight.
Hendry, 28.
Yes, the question was whether Hendry could hit that thin enough, and he missed it on the thick side. The saver for Hendry was that the red did go past the middle pocket. Ebdon could only play safe.
If Stephen Hendry could get out of this just 2 behind at 9-7, I think he'd be quietly pleased. Because he was 4-0 behind. Okay, levelled at 4 each, but to lose the first 4 and finish just 2 behind, that sends you to bed with quite positive thoughts.
So is Ebdon going to be 9-7 ahead overnight, or 10-6?
Well, a lot will depend on this shot. This is a bold shot he's having a go at. He had a bit of safety in mind, but sometimes with that type of shot, the red comes back up with the cue ball.
Generally, the closer you get it into the jaws, the more chance there is of it finishing safe.
Well, the only safety shot I can see for Peter is off the red to the extreme right of the table. He's got a long pot, but I think the safety might be a better shot. He can clip off that one to the right, but he's taking the pot on.
Foul. Stephen Hendry 4.
It was risky. But that red that's gone up the other end of the table is possible, but had it have bounced just another couple of inches, it would have been a formality. It's a tricky little cut in this. That wasn't straightforward.
Yes, Hendry could so easily have been left an easier pot than that. Even able to place the cue ball anywhere in the D. He couldn't put it anywhere which made it easy. Used a lot of topspin there to keep the cue ball down the baulk end. For somebody who hasn't been potting many long balls, that was an incredibly brave choice of shot.
Yes, and a smile from Stephen. And the reason he's smiling there, he's so unlucky. He's having to take a difficult blue because he's covered the yellow with the brown. So he was very unfortunate there. It was a cracking red, very unlucky to snooker himself on the easy yellow.
But had he been cueing at his best, he would have potted that blue anyway.
1.
But this is the sort of shot that Stephen Hendry thought he was going to be faced with. It was a lot easier than having to take the longish blue.
Three.
You really have to admire Peter Ebdon to come out and play in this final the way he has after that match he had with Matthew Stevens.
4.
That'll do very nicely. Even though he hasn't developed the black as he intended, he's developed the reds. So he can concentrate on the pink.
$11.
Hendry's
17.
failed middle distance blue gave Ebdon this opportunity.
18.
Yes, I think that 12th frame has played such a big part in this match. Peter Ebdon fluked the snooker, then went on to pinch the frame. He did apologise to Stephen Hendry for fluking the snooker and clearing up, but it was
24.
a big turning point.
A rueful look on Hendry's face. He's fearing a 10-6 overnight deficit.
25. $31. $32.
I suppose it would have to be said that Peter had the slightly better run of the ball, because when Stephen snookered himself on the yellow when he potted that fantastic red. But he really has played so well, Peter Ebdon. And if he does go on to lead 10-6, he would deserve it. He's still got quite a few balls to pot yet.
$38.
Hendry sits there hoping.
$39.
It looks as if the black spot's occupied, so it will have to go on to the blue, but it won't make a great deal of difference. Well, is there just enough room for the black? without touching that red. It's rocking a little bit.
46.
That does the black pot. It should do. So
47.
black, red, black would be enough to leave Stephen Hendry at the snooker's required stage. The black goes, and by the looks of it, the red might just go.
$54. $55.
Ebdon checked the scores before his last shot. He's checking them again. And both times the scoreboard told him that he would be 29 in front, provided he potted that black.
It's going to be a fascinating day tomorrow. There's a long way to go in this year's Embassy World Final. But Peter Ebdon,
67.
well, he's going to feel very comfortable going to bed this evening.
Ebdon's 4-0 lead was negated at 4-all. Another 4-frame winning streak took him from 5-all to 9-5.
76.
And at the end of the day, he is again 4 frames in front.
$82.
Peter Ebdon clears with 89 to take the last frame of the day and a 10-6 overnight lead. Hendry has it all to do tomorrow.